Hello everyone and welcome to that very special time of the month. And now that I've said it out loud, I will never refer to this video as special time of the month ever again. It is the June Extras video. It is the video where I take all of the other little things that happened throughout my month that didn't get vlogs dedicated to them and push them all together into a big content ball for you. There is so much to talk about because June was actually pretty busy. There was a lot of stuff that happened. And I have a lot of video to show as well, because we shot quite a bit throughout the month, so that's exciting. We're going to start by talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, which launched this month in early June. And I've already talked about the Switch 2 in another Extras video 2 months ago whenever I ordered it, but I haven't had a chance to talk about the acquiring of the Switch 2. I ordered my Switch 2 from Target. I had pre-ordered it in April from Target.com, and I was like, this is great. I managed to get one. I can't wait to play my Switch 2. And the date started to get closer and closer, and Target was like, yeah, it's gonna be like, probably gonna be like a few days late, maybe a week late. And I was like, that's not really ideal. I'd much prefer to get the Switch 2 at launch so I could stream Mario Kart World when it debuted. That would be fantastic. So, I woke up very early on launch day and I looked at my phone and checked the app and I was like, is there any update about this? And the Target app was still like, nah, next week. So I was like, cool. And I went to my local Target store at 5 in the morning and I stood in line and I bought a Switch 2 that way. So that was fun. It took a few days after, but then the Switch 2 that I had pre-ordered arrived. And because I didn't need it, I returned it because I don't need to have two Switch 2s. The Switch 2 itself has been a great console. It's been fun. I'm using it primarily to play Switch 1 games. Mario Kart World has been a blast. The thing that has been frustrating is that Target messed up so many people. Well, I don't know if they messed up, but they were late on so many people's orders that they decided to issue $50 eShop credit to people. And I did not get an email for that because presumably I returned the Switch 2. But I was like, well, this is still one of those situations where like, I think I should probably be eligible for that $50 eShop credit because it did arrive late, which is what caused me to go buy one in the first place. So I actually talked to a Target representative and I was like, hey, I see you guys are doing $50 eShop credit. I was wondering if I would be eligible for that. And they looked at it and they said, you returned your Switch 2. And I said, yes, it's true that I returned my Switch 2. However, I bought a Switch 2 from Target because it was not going to arrive in time. I woke up early on launch day and went and bought one so I would have one. And they're like, but you returned it. And I was like, yes, I did. But I bought one from Target. I have the receipt. I can prove that I bought it at Target. Is there anything that we could do? And they said, no, you returned it. And I said, so just real quick, it does seem that if I had held on to the system for a little bit longer, which I could have done because the return window was still like weeks away. I say if I would have held on to the console for just a little bit longer, like a few more days, I would have gotten this eShop credit. And the representative said, yes. And I'm like, so you're telling me because I returned it sooner, I'm no longer eligible for the eShop credit? And they said, yes. And I was like, cool. And they're like, we understand what you're saying, that you bought the system at the Target. I was like, yes. They're like, but you returned the system. And I'm like, okay, all right, it's fine. It's totally fine. So yeah, we did get a Switch. It's working great. It was an interesting morning to be in a line for a console because I haven't done that in a long time. There was a family that was in line behind me, and they had a very fun-filled, hyperactive little boy who was super excited to get the Switch 2. And I have to tell this part of the story because it's really, really great. Whenever Target finally opened and they kind of had us go single file towards the back where they were going to be doing the Switch 2 purchases, the little boy behind me yells, "I know a shortcut," and then goes to run around me, and his father is there and goes, "No." I was like, "You do not do that." And then he points to me. I mean, I'm in front of him, but he points to me and says, "You see that guy?" He goes, "You're behind that guy." And the little boy goes, "Okay, yes, that guy, he's marching. I'll march behind him too." And his dad goes, "He's not marching, he's just tall." Which gave me a brief complex for about 1 minute where I was walking and just didn't know how to walk anymore because it was like, am I marching? Do I just march everywhere? Is this what I look like? So I was very worried and self-conscious about what a 7-year-old boy thought of me. Anyway, that's the Switch 2 story. We got it. We got the other one returned. Mario Kart has been fun. If you didn't see, we're doing a entire Versus playthrough over on Steven Plays. Go check it out if you haven't. That's a good strong start to this video, but there's so much more. Other things I did. If you didn't catch it, Jiggy was doing a charity stream pretty early this month, and I actually joined for part of it. I joined Josh and Dan and Jiggy to play Sea of Thieves. I had never played Sea of Thieves. Jiggy actually purchased it for me for the purpose of that stream, which is very kind. And it was fun. It was a very fun game. That stream is currently available over on his Twitch channel. I'm sure he'll get it posted onto YouTube at some point. But I enjoyed it. I can see myself doing like a Steven and Friends of it maybe at some point, just because it was fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which I think is good. I think that's a strong thing in a game.
Steven, you gotta talk like a pirate for the next 2 minutes.
I be pirate now time.
Wow. Jesus. You're gonna kill me.
For a pirate to make time for pirates. It's me, pirate.
It's
I'm
me.
pirate.
That's very pirate.
There was also some Apple news because WWDC happened. I did not make a dedicated video to WWDC, but me and Chaz and Mao watched it at least. There wasn't a whole lot to comment on. There was a few features that they're bringing into the OSs that are nice things to have. However, the new aesthetic is liquid glass, and that I think it needs maybe a little bit of tweaking. They're trying to really change up how everything looks, and it'd be the first major redesign in many years. And I think that it's good to do that occasionally. And I don't even think that the premise of liquid glass, which is dumb to say, is bad. But there's some usability issues, I think. And I saw some of that in their presentation. I was like, I feel like this could be distracting or hard to read. And Chaz actually downloaded the iOS beta and was using it and has posted a few screenshots of using it and been like, this is gonna need some adjustments. So hopefully they work out the kinks on that, because that'll be launching in the fall and we're gonna need to be able to adjust some things about it, because Clear on Clear has got, I'm sure they'll work it all out. Speaking of Apple, last month or the month before, I talked about Mao working on her iMac. She gutted her iMac and put in a new display board so she could use her old 2015 5K iMac as a monitor. It worked smoothly, went without a hitch. She now has that computer from a decade ago back. It runs well. There's been no issues with it. She's been really enjoying having, not just a second monitor, but like a big monitor. And it's so funny because when you see it on the desk, your brain is just like, that's an iMac. But no, she has a Mac Mini. So yeah, it's cool. If you're interested in doing that, we don't have like directions for you, but you can search, turning iMac into monitor or something on Google or YouTube and find some instructions about it. The thing that's like most important for that is finding out like what iMac model you have, both the hardware side, which you can find out by, if you have the iMac on, you can click the Apple and then About and it'll tell you. But you also have to find out what model screen is on your iMac, which means you do have to take it apart. You have to get that screen off to find out the model identifier of the screen, because that will dictate what type of board you order. Everything past that's not too difficult. It's mostly just unplugging some things, taking the guts out, cleaning it out, and then putting the new board in. But Mal took care of all of that herself. She did a great job, and she has a new screen out of it. So if you have an old iMac laying around, don't let it go to waste. You could get a really, really nice monitor out of it. We do have a new problem in the home. Probably, maybe early June, we noticed that there was some water spots on the ceiling here in the sunroom. And, our first thought was, oh no. But also, maybe not that surprising, because the gutters have been clogged since we moved in. When we moved into this house over 2 years ago, we sent the landlord a list of all of the things that needed to be addressed. And over the course of 2 years, some of those have been addressed. But the gutters were one of the things that we mentioned, because they were clogged 2 years ago when we moved in, and Mal was concerned that that was going to cause some problems. Reasonably so. Whenever it rains here, this area back here on the sunroom, like water just pours down because there's no gutters, there's nowhere for it to go. And this is, of course, where the water stains were. So we called the landlord, sent out a repair guy, cut a hole in the sunroom, so now there's a hole there, and there's still a hole there. The idea behind it was, we're gonna have this hole and we're gonna see if it leaks water. And Mao was like, what about the gutters? It could be the gutters. And the repairman said, yes, but it could also not be the gutters. It could be like plumbing. And Mao was like, there's nothing above that. There's no toilets. There's nothing on the second floor above the sunroom. And he's like, but it could be something else. So anyway, there's still a hole in our ceiling. At some point, I guess they're going to come patch it up. And, unless there was a torrential downpour, which I think is how we get the water spots in there in the first place, I don't think we're going to get any more leaking in there. But it would be nice if maybe, just maybe, they decided to clean the gutters. When we had mentioned it to the repairman when he was here, he was like, it's very scary. And we're like, okay. Well, what do you want us to do? Because, yeah, it's scary, but someone should do it because it needs done. The reason it's scary is that we live in a 2-story home. However, we live on a hill, which means on the back side of the house, the first floor is kind of like a second floor. So the second floor of the house from the back side of the house is like very, very far off the ground. It is scary. It is dangerous. But also, instead of having your generic, I do all of the things handyman do it, who doesn't want to do it, you could hire a person who does it professionally, and then they would do it. So, just spitballing here. Anyway, we enjoyed some media in June as well. We watched one film, and that was Uncle Buck. Mal and I had never seen Uncle Buck, one of John Candy's famous comedies, and then also, I believe, the film debut of Macaulay Culkin, possibly. We didn't really know what to expect. I enjoyed it though. It was fun. John Candy was a very, very funny person. I would not mind watching more of his films, because there's plenty of them that I haven't seen. We also started watching a show. I had mentioned last month or the month before that me, Mal, Chaz, and Jeff have been watching through Angie Tribeca, which is true. We're still working on that. But Mal and I started a new show just for us, and that was Barry, Bill Hader's show on HBO. It's real good. I had watched an episode of it on a plane a long time ago, and it really captured me. And the other day when Mal and I were trying to figure out what to watch next, we were going through everything, and I saw Barry, and I was like, Barry. And I was like, what's Barry? And I'm like, it's a comedy about a hitman? And she's like, okay. So we watched the first episode, and she was into it, so we've continued watching it, and we're nearly done. I think it's 4 seasons, and we're about halfway through season 3. Really great show. It is a dark show, but a dark comedy. I won't spoil anything about the show because it's very good. There is an episode in season 2, like halfway through season 2, that is just balls to the wall bonkers. It is one of the best episodes of television I have ever seen in my life. It is crazy. The entire thing is like, I'll give enough information so people that have seen the show will know what I'm talking about. It's like the entire thing is a big fight scene, and it just within the span of this 30 minutes, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. I was laughing so hard. Holy cow! It was wild. It's been really good. So it's not a very long show. I think each season's got like 8 episodes, so we probably will finish up with it in the next few weeks. But really enjoyed it. Really enjoy it. Highly recommend it. And when we're not watching Barry, we are playing Claire Obscure. We did start playing through Claire Obscure. We're 4 party members deep. I've been enjoying it. It's been fun. Mao has been letting me play, even though I to be honest, I think the time, because it's a game really about timing, because you need to dodge and parry. I think her timing is just as good, if not better than mine, but she's like, it's stressful. I said, okay. So I've been playing it and she's been watching. And then occasionally if I have to like get up and get a snack or go to the bathroom, then she'll take over. But we're going through it. I know it's not like a super, super long game, but it's still an RPG. So it's going to take us a little bit to get through. It's been fun. Been really enjoying it. We ate some good food in June. I got a few things to talk about. We went out on a date to a taco place. It was fine. Mao had seen it on, I think she saw an advertisement on TikTok and was like, I want to go try it. And it was pretty good. It wasn't like super, super great, but it was pretty good. Then later we had tried Culver's like redid their chicken sandwiches. So we got some of those and they are good. And as someone that has had their chicken sandwich before, I do think that it is better. I think that it is an improvement over what existed before. So good job, Culver's. Even the pickles are new. One would hope so. It'd be awful if they gave us used pickles. Straight up stole your joke. Mal said that like moments ago, and I was like, that's really funny. Culver's decided to introduce a new formula.
They redid their chicken sandwich.
And I was never a super huge fan of their old chicken sandwich, but now that they've redone it, I'm like, well, this could change everything. So Mal and I got spicy chicken sandwiches with cheese, lettuce, tomato, pickles. You got almost the same thing. Mm-hmm. So you've already taken a bite. I'm gonna take a bite out of this and see how much better it is. But the fact that the pickles are different too is wild. That is way better. Mm-hmm. The breading makes all the difference on fried chicken. And having something that's, I mean, for one, genuinely delicious, but then also crunchy, is a big deal. They didn't change the recipe for their chicken strips, which is fine. But yeah, this is actually a pretty good chicken sandwich. You like it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you've already you're making some headway on that.
I was hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. Neat. Mal also decided that she wanted to make a fancy meal at home. I'm calling it a fancy meal. I don't know if she would call it a fancy meal. It was a salmon pasta, and it was so good. It was delicious, and I don't know that I have had something that tasted quite that good at home in a long time. And I don't mean to say that like we don't ever eat anything good at home, but like that was really good. I really, really loved that. It's really good. The next day we were out driving the car and we ran into a problem. The check engine light came on, which is never something that you really want to see. But when it came on, I was like, okay, well, everything still seems to be working fine, but I should probably make an appointment. So I made an appointment to get the car looked at. They couldn't see it for a few days, but I finally got it in. And when they checked it, they said, your thermal control valve is messed up. It needs to be replaced. And they said, fortunately, this is actually something that is covered under an extended warranty for the Subaru, because apparently they just have a defect and they go bad. So Subarus, within a certain age range or year, they have this issue and the thermal control valve goes bad. So they did the work for free, which was awesome. And the guy, our rep, was so excited because he was like, this would normally be like $2,000 of work. And he's like, it's all covered, it's all taken care of. And I was like, okay, well, I appreciate it. We were good, out of sight, out of mind. And I went on with my week. We'll be talking about this again in a minute. As part of that week, Will actually came up here because Will was a big fan of comedians, stand-up comedians. And we have a club up here called Good Nights, a comedy club. And he comes up here every once in a while to see a show. And he came up to see a show and he had a spare ticket. And he's like, would you like to go with me? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So me and him went to see, and I have to read the name because this person has 4 names. James Donald Forbes McCann, who is a Australian guy who's living and working in the US and doing stand-up. Very funny show. Really, really enjoyed it. He was a very, very funny guy. And I got a picture of Will with him at the end of the night. At some point, a few days later, I went into the garage. I know I'd mentioned this last month. There was snake poop in the garage. Well, now there was more snake poop in the garage, and it's definitely a different snake. The same snake could not be living in our garage. There's nothing to eat, and it's hot. They would die. So at some point between last month and this month, another snake was like, that looks like a toilet. Now we have some stuff to deal with this. We have some like foam. You spray it and then it like hardens. It makes hardened foam. And we got it actually after the last snake, but we were trying to give it enough time that that snake would be gone. And then like we forgot to spray the foam. And there's a little gap around the corners of the garage door, and I'm pretty sure that's how the snake got in the first place. So now it has been enough time that the second snake should no longer be in the garage. I ain't seen him. And I think we can now safely spray that foam. Remind me tonight to spray that foam. Okay, good. We want to make sure that actually gets done. And now for something very, very exciting. A few months back, it might have been Vagabond, or me and Vagabond. Whenever we met up with Vagabond in New York City, we came up with this idea for Cookie Party. And the premise behind Cookie Party is very simple, and I think that it is beautiful and wonderful. It should be a national holiday, but in lieu of that, I'll just tell you about it and you can host your own. The premise behind Cookie Party is that you and all of your friends make cookies. You make different types of cookies, and then you get together, you have a party in the evening, you eat some of the cookies, sure, but more importantly, you trade cookies. So you make, 1 or 2 dozen cookies of a particular type, and then when the party is over, you have a few of your cookies, but you have a few of these and these and these and these and these. So that's the premise behind Cookie Party. It's a genius invention, and we did it. And not everyone made cookies. But in fairness, part of that had to do with the fact that they know that we are going to overdo it. And it's true. Both Mao and myself made a ton of cookies, more so than we needed to make. And that's fine. That's totally fine. But I did record a clip that you can watch that shows off the cookies, and you should see them because everyone did a really fantastic job. So Chaz made these very, very delicious oatmeal cookies. They got a good crunch. They have, they're very dense. They're very good. I want to like bite into these cookies and eat them, but I've also already eaten like 12.
You could cut them into quarters.
I also could just like snap it in half.
You gonna eat a half of each one? That's
No,
so nice.
well, I was just gonna show it.
Oh, okay.
You're worried I'm gonna eat more cookies? I have eaten so many cookies. But yeah, it's like very, very dense. It's very, very good. Brandon made these red velvet
White chocolate chip.
It's made with a cake mix, and they're very fluffy and taste like you're eating red velvet cake. Excellent. Mal actually made 2 different types of cookies because she made these banana chocolate chip cookies that you have made before.
Yes.
They're very cakey, and it's kind of
It's
like
banana bread in a cookie form.
it's kind of like eating banana bread. They're very, very good. Excellent. Mal made those because she knew that those would turn out in case the cookie that she really wanted to make didn't turn out. But it did, and it's really good. This is a lemon ricotta cookie that Mal made, and the sauce, it's a sauce. Icing. I guess it's a sauce. The icing that's on top is very good. It's a little sour, which Mal was like, I would change the types of lemons. And I'm like, no, I think it's good that it's just a little tart.
The Meyer lemon will be so much better.
I think it's great. I've had multiple of those. And then I also made cookies, and there was a lot of people in our chat when I had been talking about this on stream that were like, oh, Steven's gonna like burn the house down. I can cook, actually. I don't know if you know that, but I can cook.
This is bacon.
Whatever. Anyway, I made gingerbread cookies, and not just any gingerbread cookies. I made gingerbread cookies, you can't see it very well, that are filled with cream cheese. They're really good. I had multiple compliments from people tonight on my cookies, and I was so pleased. I also made way too many of them. And you might be saying, gingerbread cookies in June? And yeah, I get it, but here's the thing. Gingerbread's delicious. I love the flavors of Christmas, like allspice and cloves and ginger and whatever. Like, it's really good flavor, and I like it, and I feel like it should be enjoyed all year long. Instead, we've like shoehorned it into 6 weeks at the end of the year, and that's stupid. So instead, I decided that I was going to make these tonight, and I put cream cheese in them because, yeah, why not? The recipe that I used for this, I'll put it in the description if you want to make them too. It's really good. I've eaten so many cookies, oh my God. Shortly after Cookie Party, I think it was actually maybe the day after, Austin was in town. I don't have any video or photos of this, so you'll just have to trust that Austin was here. Austin was actually here last month also. Both times just randomly got an overnight. Austin's the pilot, so sometimes he'll get an overnight in Raleigh, and we'll be able to hang out for just like a few short hours. And we got to do that twice within the span of like 30 days, which has been very, very cool. I'm hoping at some point, though, he can get an overnight that doesn't require him to leave at like 4 in the morning, because he's not been staying with us. And I'd really love it if he had a later flight the next day so he could stay here. And it'd be really, really cool if he could be here for a breakfast stream. I just think it'd be really, really awesome for everyone to be able to talk to him about what it's like to be a pilot, because people probably have a lot of questions, and he's been doing this for a long time now, and he's got all sorts of, wisdom and stories about being a commercial airline pilot. While he was here, we went to a game store, and I found a GameCube demo disc. For those that don't know, back in the day when Nintendo was doing the GameCube, they actually had these demo discs that they would give to retailers to put in their kiosk. And what's neat is that they look like they have case art and everything. Like they feel like a pretty premium product, as opposed to like, here's a disc. It's not like that at all. Like they're kind of almost real games. And there's 35 of these things. And over the years, we've collected a few, but we don't have very many, and it's been years since we've seen any. Actually, some of them that we have were found by Nikki, Austin's wife, when she was randomly in New York one time. She had called me, and she's like, I know you guys are trying to complete GameCube, because at the time we were. She said, they don't have any of the games you're missing, but the clerk was like, we have these things and they'll probably be interested in them. And it was several of the GameCube demo discs. And I was like, oh, I am definitely interested. That's super cool. Well, when Austin was here, we went to our game store and there was another demo disc. And like, you don't see these. Speaking as someone that goes to a lot of game stores and loves to look at this sort of stuff and is always curious what's being traded in, etc., the interactive multi-game demo discs for GameCube just do not show up in stores. They get traded and sold and stuff on eBay, but usually don't make their way into stores. So finding one was awesome, and I did pick it up. And we've had a lot of people talking about how they'd really like to see them as part of Extra Life, which, as a reminder, by the way, is October 4th. Please put it on your calendars and ask your boss off for work, because it's coming up soon, less than 100 days. People want to be able to see the GameCube demo disc, and I'm like, yeah, I think we're gonna let people do that. So we've got a few. Maybe we'll have more by the time, October gets here. But if you want to see early versions of some GameCube games, we do have some of the demo discs. And then, who shows up into Raleigh but Jules? We got Family Jules here. He was here because he was touring with his band Thunderforge, and he had actually messaged me a few months ago and said, "Hey, I'm gonna be in Raleigh with my band. I wanted to let you know it'd be awesome if you could come to the show." And I was like, "Yeah, definitely. Let me know when it is." So a week or so ago, we met up with Jules. We went and had some dinner. We went to the barcade and got to play some games for a little bit because it was a while before his band went on. And then we went and watched him perform. It was very cool. There is a lot of chemistry between all of the band members in Thunderforge. And Jules was telling us that all of them have known each other for like 10 or 15 years at least. And it shows. They are so clearly comfortable and having fun on stage with each other. And that fun is very contagious because the crowd, when it starts and like they get up and they're doing their thing, like people in the crowd like maybe don't know who they are because their band is originally from Massachusetts. So everyone's just kind of feeling them out. And then within like a song or two, people are getting like really into it. And how could they not? Because it was just fun. Anyway, I recorded a bunch. I recorded way too much. That I didn't need to record so much, but like here's some, so I can at least say that I got to show you some of the concert.
with a crowd this awesome on a Wednesday night. Let's go!
At this point, their tour is over. I don't know when they will tour again, but I'm sure that they will in the future. I think this is, Jules was saying this is actually their first tour that they've done, like a big road trip tour, but they've been a band for a long, long time, like 10 years or something like that. So I would say that this probably won't be the last time that you'll be able to see them. Anyway, then Michael actually came into town. We got to see Michael, and on our way to having dinner, because Michael was like, we're gonna meet up for dinner. I was like, cool. On our way there, after having gotten, we've had the car back at this point. I told you the car was coming back up. We've had the car back for about a week. And in this time frame, things have been fine. There's been no issues. Very happy to have this thermal control valve issue fixed. While driving to where Michael is to dinner, the temperature thing on the dash comes on and it's flashing. And I'm driving, mouse in the passenger seat, and I say, the temperature gauge is flashing. And she goes, what? And I said, the temperature gauge is flashing. And I said, is it worse if it's flashing or worse if it's solid? And she goes, I'm pretty sure it's worse if it's solid, but I'm gonna check the manual. And I said, okay. So she opens up the manual and she said, yeah, she said, if it's flashing, she said, it's getting hot. She said, if it's solid, that's bad. And I said, okay. So one of the things you can do on the car is it'll show you what the temperature is. There's a little meter. So I pull it up, and when I pulled it up, we could see that it's supposed to be cooler, and it was starting to get a little hot. And then the AC stopped working, and I was like, the car's getting hot. So at this point, we're not very far away from dinner. And Mal was like, should we just stop here? Should we get there? Should Michael come and pick us up? And I was like, well, I'm watching the gauge. And I'm like, we're not into like the uh-oh zone. Everything is okay. It's just we need to get there, soon. And she was like, okay. So light's still flashing. We were only probably 3 or 4 minutes away or something like that. And as I am pulling into the parking lot, that is when the light went solid and the temperature thing finally went to the uh-oh zone. Check engine light came on. All of the safety features in the car shut off. Every light on the dash lit up. And I was like, all right, now it's bad. But like we had pulled into the parking lot and like parked within like 10 seconds. So nothing that I was concerned about. But it was one of those situations of like, okay, yeah, I'm glad that we made it, but now we really need to shut the car off. So I told Mao, I was like, we need to send this thing back to have it looked at. And she's like, yeah. So we called a tow truck and had the tow truck take it back to the place. I mean, we had dinner with Michael, and that was fun. I get a clip of the of the tow truck taking the car away.
Bye, car. Bye-bye. Well, anyway, I guess you're driving now.
And I talked to the tow truck driver and for a bit, and he said, oh, we do this all the time. I'm going to go leave it there. They have a drop box for the keys, and I'll leave the keys there, and I will send you a photo of the car there so you know it's there. And I was like, oh, awesome, fantastic. So he said he would do that. Michael brought us home, and then the tow truck guy sent me the photos. I was like, oh, fantastic. So the next morning, because this story gets crazy, the next morning, I call the mechanic and I say, hey, just wanted to check on the car. And when I called, it was 10 a.m. So they've been open for like a few hours. And I was like, I wanted to check on the car. I had it towed there last night, and I just wanted to see, if there was any new information. And the person I talked to was like, you had it towed here last night? And I was like, yeah. She goes, okay, well, it's early. And I go, yeah. She goes, it's early. They're not to it yet. And I said, okay. She said, yeah. She said, it's 10. They're working on stuff. And if you had it towed here last night, they're not to it yet. And I said, okay. She said, we'll call you. She says, you don't need to worry about calling us. We'll call you. And I said, okay, all right. Sure. She said, if you don't hear back from us in a few hours, then, I mean, you can call back, but like, you don't need to worry about it. And I said, okay. So that was at 10 a.m. 5 hours went by, and at 3 o'clock, Mal called. And when she called, she learned some interesting information. When she called and talked to the guy, she said, I wanted to check up on our car. And they said, what car? So Mal started to explain, we had it towed there last night. The guy left the keys in the box. And then the guy said, is that what these keys are? So when you leave the keys in the drop box, what you do is there's a form, and you put the keys inside the envelope, and on the envelope there's things to write, like the phone number and whatever. The tow truck driver wrote nothing. They didn't write anything. They just put the keys in the box with no information. So even though he was like, I do this all the time and everything's fine, it clearly was not. Or he does it all the time and he does it incorrectly. So Mal's talking to them on the phone and they're like, yeah, we don't know about any car. So they gave it to the manager, and the manager had to walk around the parking lot with the clicker trying to get this car to make a sound to find the car, and eventually found the car. Even though there's a designated spot for tow truck drivers to like put cars overnight, he did not put it there. He put it somewhere else. So everything was going great. But they did eventually find the car. They felt really, really bad about what happened because, again, Mao explained, I had called at 10, and at 10 they were like, we don't need to worry about this ever. So they felt bad, and they were like, well, how can we make it up to you? And Mao was like, well, we only have one car, so if you guys have the car, we don't have a car. And they said, we'll bring you a car. So they did. They brought us a loaner. So for a few days, we had a 2025 Crosstrek, which was neat. It's neat. As far as I'm concerned, it was just like baby Forester, and I didn't like it as much because it was baby, and the windshield is smaller. It's harder to see out of. But it was nice of them to do that. And it took, over the weekend, it took a few days, but they did fix the car. And as you may suspect, no charge. Because, and this is going to blow your mind, the car overheating was directly related to the thermo control valve. They said what had happened is one of the tubes was not clamped on tightly enough, and coolant was escaping, which is why it took a week or so before the car finally was like, uh-oh, I'm hot. But also why it overheated. So everything is good now. Everything is good now. There is no long-term damage to the car from what they know or what we know. And again, it was only in the, uh-oh, I'm really, really hot, please turn me off mode for like 10 seconds. It literally happened as we were parking, so I'm not terribly concerned about it. Hopefully, no more issues with all of that. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I got a few more things to talk about, but before I do, since we're right here at the end of the video, let me do a little shout out for Patreon. I'm going to put the list of Patreon producers' names on screen now. If you're watching and you'd like to learn more about Patreon and how you can support me and Mao, please consider visiting supportsteven.com to learn more. I appreciate it. I really do. I also wanted to mention, and I'd said this in last month's extras video, I had posted more of my dad's art, which you all promptly bought almost near as hair, all of it. And so first off, thank you. I appreciate it. But also on behalf of my dad, thank you. He is just over the moon that people enjoy his art. And I know some of you that bought art had left like photos and reviews on the Etsy page. he loves that so much. He loves to see his art like hanging up in someone's home or on a shelf, or like it in its final resting place, like being enjoyed by someone else. So if that's you, thank you for doing that. It means a lot to him. And as a reminder, my dad has Parkinson's. He's had Parkinson's for many, many years. And the fact that he is able to produce the beautiful paintings that he does is truly inspiring. It inspires me. My dad is certainly a hero to me. So I hope that all of you enjoyed that art, and I want you to know that I have added just a few more pieces, because I know there were some people that they missed out on one that they wanted. So I don't have duplicates, but I put up a few more, and you can visit stevepaintedthis.com. There's not a lot on there right now, but there's a few, so check it out if you missed out the first time, or if you just want another piece. And then finally, the last two things I'm going to mention is that I have been doing my best to get more sleep. I've been struggling a little bit, but on the whole, I am getting more sleep this year than last year. There's a metric on the phone where it'll show you like, how is this right now compared to last year, like in the last 30 days compared to a year ago 30 days. And I am basically consistently beating it by an hour. It's still not perfect, but the fact that I'm getting an extra hour of sleep more than I did last year is huge. It's such a big deal, and it is making a difference in my life, which is awesome. As you know, at the beginning of this year, I dropped the vlogs, and I've also had a bunch of other changes, and they're basically all related to burnout and trying to fix myself. And sleep is one of the things that can really help. Still having some sleep issues that I'd love to solve, but I'm managing to find the sleep when I can, even if I don't get it consistent, like in one solid go, because I toss and turn for whatever reason. I'll try and take a little nap throughout the day or something to make sure I'm having that sleep. And it's working, which is awesome. The other thing that I've done that I have been consistent with, even though I haven't mentioned it the past 2 months, is closing my rings. I have closed my rings every day since the beginning of 2025, which means I've done it for 6 months. Every move goal, every stand goal, every exercise goal, I've done it every single day for 6 months. And the exercise certainly varies. Sometimes I would just go for a walk. Sometimes I do weights. It's summer now, which means it's hot. So I've been doing a lot less walking outside, and I started doing DDR because we have the DDR pad in there. And it's been good. It's been good. It's one of those things that building that habit is hard, because saying like, I'm going to carve out 30 minutes in a day to exercise can be really hard to justify sometimes. Sometimes you just don't want to do it, and then other times you're busy. But I have found that, forcing myself to do it, it does get easier. And a lot of times, especially on the days where I'm doing particularly hard physical work, it's very rewarding. So the first half of this year, down. I've done it. 6 more months to go. Keeping my fingers crossed that not only I can do it, but also that I don't get sick, because that make it a lot harder to achieve. And that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. This was a long one, but I really hope that you enjoyed it. I had a fun time filming the various things throughout this month. I think as time goes on and I continue to heal from the burnout and the mental exhaustion of things, I will probably go back to turning more parts of the extras video into dedicated vlogs, even if they're shorter, because I do have a desire to do that. But in the meantime, in the interim, I think that this is a good way of doing it, of making sure that the information gets out there. And I can truly look back on June and say, I think that all the things that really mattered, that I wanted to share, got shared. And that's good. Okay. Thanks for watching. enjoy your July, since we're now going into July, and stay tuned for more Steven Vlog. Let's meet back soon, shall we?